Every morning across Japan, millions follow rituals that mainstream wellness media has completely missed. Mapping their purpose in 5 minutes, eating from odd-shaped plates, and tracking leftovers in old notebooks. These are not trends. They are the secrets behind a nation with a 4.3% obesity rate and the world's highest longevity. What if everything you have heard about Japanese living is only the surface? Today, you will uncover 20 hidden practices that explain what the West has overlooked and why those details may change your understanding of health forever. Let's start where every Japanese day truly begins. Before the first bite of breakfast, a quiet ritual takes place in homes from Sapporo to Okinawa. It is not meditation or prayer, but a 5-minute mapping of purpose, what the Japanese call ikigai. This is not just a philosophical idea, but a daily habit practiced by millions, including elders in the world's longest living communities. In Okinawa, where centenarians gather for morning tea, one woman in her 90s starts each day by writing a single sentence about what gives her life meaning. Some jot down a grandchild's smile, others mention tending a garden or helping a neighbor. Scientists have measured the impact of this practice. The Osaki study, which followed over 43,000 adults for 7 years, found that people who identified a clear ikigai had a significantly lower risk of dying, up to 15% lower mortality compared to those who did not. The difference held even after accounting for age, smoking, and chronic illness. In these communities, purpose is not left to chance or a midlife crisis. It is mapped out, named, and revisited every morning before breakfast. There is no need for a fancy journal. Any scrap of paper or old notebook will do. The act is what matters. This ritual does not just set the tone for the day, it shapes how people respond to stress, illness, and aging. Elders who practice morning ikigai mapping report better sleep, more energy, and a willingness to stay active well into their 80s and 90s. The West often frames purpose as a grand quest or something found late in life. In Japan, it is a living habit, renewed each day, as ordinary as tying your shoes. This foundation of purpose shapes every other habit that follows, from the first meal to the last light switched off at night. A Japanese kitchen at sunrise is a study in quiet calculation. Breakfast isn't just a meal, it is a ledger of what remains, what's in season, and what must be honored before it spoils. The concept of mottainai, a deep aversion to waste, guides every choice. Instead of tossing yesterday's rice or the last sliver of pickled daikon, families keep handwritten ledgers tracking leftovers. These are not just for budgeting, they are a ritual, a way to respect food and the work behind it. The morning meal often looks like an edible calendar. In spring, bamboo shoots and mountain vegetables appear. By midsummer, tomatoes and eggplant take the spotlight. Even the shape of the plates matters. Wabi-sabi, the appreciation of imperfection, means no two dishes match. Irregular, hand-formed bowls and plates encourage smaller servings, slow eating, and a sense of enough. This is portion control without calorie counting, just a few bites of each dish, arranged to highlight what is fleeting and fresh. A typical breakfast might include a bowl of rice, a miso soup with whatever greens came from the market that morning, a slice of grilled fish, and a tangle of seaweed. Each item is measured not by volume, but by attention. The meal is designed to be satisfying, not filling. Even the most carb-heavy dishes, rice, sweet potatoes, and noodles, are eaten early in the day when the body is most active. In Kyoto, chefs like Hiroko Fujita serve Don Kaiseki, a seasonal tasting menu that changes with the solstice. Waiting lists stretch for months, not because of decadence, but because the flavors are so precise, the portions so careful, that regulars claim they leave lighter than they arrived. This approach quietly solves the carb paradox: high rice intake, yet some of the lowest obesity rates in the world. The secret isn't in what is eaten, but how, when, and how much. On the kitchen counter, the leftover ledger closes with a gentle snap. The plates are stacked, each one perfectly imperfect. Breakfast ends not with a rush, but with a sense of completion. Nothing wasted, every season tasted, and the body ready for the rituals that follow. Hospitality in Japan is more than a warm greeting at the door. It is a quiet choreography known as omotenashi, where every detail is arranged for someone else's comfort. In a small inn on the outskirts of Hakone, an onsen manager starts her day before sunrise, setting out hand towels, arranging slippers, and boiling water for green tea. There is no script, only intuition, shaped by centuries of tradition. Every gesture, from the way a cup is turned to the angle of a tray, is an act of care so seamless it almost disappears. At the heart of this ritual sits a simple cup of green tea. Most Japanese adults drink 3 to 5 cups a day, not just for taste, but for health. Scientists have traced the power of this habit to catechins, potent antioxidants found in green tea leaves. Clinical studies show that people who drink green tea daily have lower levels of inflammation markers and reduced risk of heart disease and certain cancers. One study found a 23% lower risk of dying from cardiovascular causes among those who kept up the habit. It is not just the tea itself, but the way it is served, slow, unhurried, always with a sense of presence. The onsen manager, who has watched generations of guests come and go, describes the tea ritual as a kind of silent conversation. She credits her own resilience to this daily rhythm, serving, sipping, sharing. Green tea's catechins help preserve cell health, but the act of preparing it for others nourishes something deeper. In Japanese homes, hospitality and health are poured from the same pot, setting the stage for habits that strengthen both body and spirit. Steam rises from the surface of a public bath in Nagano as an onsen manager checks the temperature with a wooden paddle. Most Japanese baths hover between 40 and 42 degrees Celsius, hot enough to sting, but not enough to scald. Regulars know the drill. First, a slow immersion in water so warm it leaves the skin tingling, followed by a bracing rinse from a bucket of icy spring water, or, in some sento, a plunge into a cold pool set at 15 degrees. This cycle repeats 3 times or more as bodies adjust to the shock. The practice is not about comfort. It is a deliberate test, a way to train the nervous system to recover from stress. In Kusatsu, some baths push to 46 degrees Celsius, drawing visitors for the challenge alone. Research on hot and cold exposure is still catching up to tradition, but early studies suggest these temperature swings help regulate blood pressure, boost heart rate variability, and may even lower inflammation. For many, the real benefit is mental. The onsen manager describes the first seconds in cold water as a reset. Everything else drops away. The same intention shapes osoji, the daily cleaning ritual. In Japanese homes, cleaning is not reserved for weekends or major holidays. It is woven into the day, from a quick sweep of the entryway to wiping down surfaces after each meal. Some families set alarms to pause and clean every hour. The act becomes a form of moving meditation. After the 2011 tsunami, survivors in Ogatsu turned communal cleaning into a way to process grief and regain control, treating debris as something to be transformed, not just removed. Neuroscientists now link mindful cleaning to lower anxiety and steadier moods. In Japan, resilience is built not just in the bath, but in the quiet repetition of ordinary tasks. Each cycle, hot and cold, mess and order, trains the body and mind to face discomfort and to find calm on the other side. A narrow forest path winds through the hills outside Nagano, shrouded in cedar and cypress. In 1982, Japan's forestry agency coined a term for what locals had practiced for centuries: Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing. Here the air is thick with phytoncides, natural compounds released by trees. As you breathe them in, something measurable happens inside the body. Dr. Ching Li, a physician and researcher at Nippon Medical School, tracked adults before and after 3-day forest immersions. The results were striking. Natural killer cell activity, a key part of the immune system's cancer defense, rose by nearly 50%. Levels of anti-cancer proteins like perforin and granulysin surged, and these effects lasted for weeks after returning to the city. Blood pressure dropped, heart rate variability improved, and stress hormones like cortisol fell. Urban walks, by contrast, showed no such change. The science echoes what Japanese elders have known for generations. In winter, when the air bites and snow muffles the world, groups gather for rokuyamai, 6-night walks through their neighborhoods. The cold is not avoided, it is embraced as a trainer for mind and body. Children and grandparents alike pull on boots and scarves, setting out after dinner to circle the block or visit a nearby shrine. In Kanazawa, these walks are credited with more than just resilience. Crime rates in these districts hover near zero, and neighbors describe a sense of cohesion that persists even as Japan's population ages. The ritual is less about exercise and more about presence, breathing in the cold, greeting passers-by, and letting discomfort sharpen awareness. Forest immersion and winter walks are not isolated wellness trends. They are woven into daily life, blending ancient beliefs with modern science. The evidence is not just in immune cell counts, but in the fabric of communities that trust each other enough to leave doors unlocked and children free to roam. Nature, in Japan, is both a healer and a silent teacher, shaping bodies that resist disease and neighborhoods that thrive on quiet connection. A 7-year-old waits at a Tokyo crosswalk, backpack slung over one shoulder, eyes fixed on the signal. In Japan, this is ordinary. Children as young as first graders travel alone or with friends, navigating trains and city streets on their way to school or errands. This is not a test of courage. It is a quiet pact between parents and the community. Psychologists in Tokyo have tracked the effects. Children trusted with independence show higher resilience, better problem solving, and less anxiety about new situations. The safety debate peaked in the early 2000s, but police data told a different story. Japan's child crime rate remained among the lowest in the world, about 1/10 the rate of the United States. The real safeguard is the invisible network that surrounds these children. Neighbors, shopkeepers, and commuters look out for each other's kids as if they were their own. In Okinawa, this network has a name: MOI. These are lifelong social pods, formed in childhood and lasting into old age. A MOI might start as a group of classmates, but it becomes a support net that pools money for emergencies, shares food in hard times, and gathers to talk. Membership is serious. The Okinawa Centenarian Study found that over 70% of elders who lived past 100 belonged to an active MOI. The Japan Collaborative Cohort Study showed adults with strong social networks, often MOI or similar groups, had a 24% lower risk of dying from any cause over 16 years. Psychological resilience scores in these pods run 15% higher than among those without them. A Tokyo parent remembers her daughter's first solo subway ride. She worried, but her own MOI, other mothers shared updates and celebrated the milestone. For a MOI organizer in Okinawa, weekly meetings are as vital as food or medicine. Members help each other through illness, job loss, and loneliness. This support is practical and reliable, sustaining independence for the young and dignity for the old. The trust that lets a child cross the city alone becomes the bond that carries adults through every season. A shrine attendant stands at the threshold before dawn, unlocking ancient wooden gates as the sky shifts from black to indigo. The first visitor enters in silence, bowing low with hands pressed together. Every New Year's Eve, temple bells ring out 108 times, each peal dissolving one of the earthly desires named in Buddhist teaching. The number is not random. In Japan, 108 represents the full sweep of human longing. And by sunrise, the air hums with a sense of renewal. These rituals are not reserved for holidays alone. Throughout the year, families rise early to visit local shrines, marking seasonal changes with quiet offerings. In spring, children gather wild sansei, fiddlehead ferns, and bracken, knowing their flavor peaks for only a handful of days. By autumn, matsutake hunters track the first cold snap, timing their search to the hour. This cyclical rhythm shapes daily life. Even meals follow the logic of shun, the brief window when each ingredient is at its best. The shrine attendant describes her own calendar not by months, but by the sound of bells, the scent of pine, and the taste of mountain greens. For many in Japan, time is not a straight line, but a circle, each ritual a compass, each season a cue to act, rest, or begin again. Inside a Tokyo gerontology lab, Dr. Naoko Sakamoto reviews the latest data on the ND2-237 MET gene, a mitochondrial variant found in a striking number of Japanese centenarians. This gene, common in the Okinawan population, appears to shield carriers from hypertension, diabetes, and heart disease. But it is only part of the story. Across Japan, the environment amplifies genetic advantages through habits set early in life. At an elementary school in Saitama, lunch is served not on plastic trays, but in real bowls and plates. The menu is government mandated: rice, miso soup, and at least 2 seasonal vegetables. Fried foods and sweets are rare. School lunch coordinators are trained to balance nutrition and portion size, teaching children to savor vegetables and finish every grain of rice. The results are measurable. Japan's childhood obesity rate sits at just 4.3%, a fraction of Western levels. Daily routines include micro-movements. Children walk to school, help clean their classrooms, and play outside, rain or shine. Universal health care, covering 70 to 90% of costs since the 1960s, ensures early intervention and preventive care. These factors combine to create what researchers call the obesity paradox: high carbohydrate diets, yet some of the world's lowest rates of metabolic disease. Genes and lifestyle, working in quiet partnership, extend not just lifespan, but health span, allowing more people to reach old age with vigor and independence. Every year, Japanese workers log around 1,710 hours on the job, which is longer than most of their Western peers. Yet, in global happiness rankings, Japan consistently lands near the top for life satisfaction. The puzzle is not lost on researchers. Dr. Naoko Sakamoto, a gerontologist who has tracked aging trends for decades, points to a deeper pattern beneath the numbers. The long hours are real, but so are the buffers, purposeful routines, strong social bonds, and micro breaks built into the day. In many offices, employees pause for green tea, share seasonal snacks, or step outside for a brief walk among cherry trees or city parks. These are not perks, they are habits rooted in centuries-old traditions. OECD's latest indices show Japanese adults reporting high satisfaction with their lives, even as they shoulder demanding workloads. The secret, says Dr. Sakamoto, is not in escaping work, but in weaving meaning and connection through it. Retirement, in her data, often triggers a drop in well-being. Purpose, not leisure, keeps people thriving. The paradox dissolves when seen through the lens of daily rituals, a society that works hard, but refuses to let work define the boundaries of joy, belonging, or health. In Japan, satisfaction is not an accident. It is the outcome of systems and habits that quietly sustain resilience, year after year. Right now, Japan's overlooked daily habits continue to defy global trends, yielding the world's longest lifespans and lowest obesity rates amid rising chronic disease elsewhere. As wellness fads come and go in the West, these quietly radical practices remain woven into daily life, tested by centuries and validated by modern science. The real secret is not what Japan hides, it is what the rest of us dismiss. What would you change first?